episode of HR and Payroll 2.0. I'm Pete Tiliakis, and as always, I'm joined by the legendary Julie Fernandez. Welcome, Julie.
Thanks, Pete.
Yeah, good to be here. We are fresh off of the conference trail.
That's right.
Yeah,
The what used to be the American Payroll Association, right? The
yeah.
APA annual Congress event.
Payroll Congress. That's exactly right. The
Yep.
42nd annual Congress was held in
And
Nashville, and
and
we
what do you
are.
call it, Pete?
I
You've given
call
it a pet name
it,
everybody
yeah,
uses now.
the Super Bowl of Payroll.
There you go.
Yes, yes, yes. I did make a stop before coming home. I went to. I did go out to Nashville. The other, or excuse me, Las Vegas. The other. I guess I would call that the. Well, Nashville's the Vegas of the South, right? So I went to the Vegas of the West, the Vegas,
The real
the
Vegas.
real Vegas. I get the Nashville of the West. I don't know, but yeah, spent a couple of days with UKG. Got a nice update. Um, Man, do they have everything, right? Lots of updates on HCM. WFM's doing its thing as it always has. Great places to work for. Data is getting just infused everywhere and productized. Some new stuff in payroll for UKG coming up, global
Mhm.
payroll that is. Certainly lots of AI talk. Yeah, just a really exciting day where we were really diving into getting a peek into all the things that you and I love, right? HCM, WFM, payroll, and all
Yep.
the stuff that goes in between. So yeah, really a good update. Yeah, UKG's humming along. 80,000 clients now in 150 countries. That's all products and all solutions globally. Yeah, and really doing well when it comes to their global growth, if you will. Right, each of their solutions, UKG Ready and UKG Dimensions, are doing quite well in each of their respective markets. I thought it was really interesting, Julie. I didn't know this. Um, UKG Ready, right, being the down market solution that they have. UKG Dimensions being or excuse me, let me back up and say that differently. UKG Pro would be
Yeah.
their HCM upmarket. UKG Ready is downmarket. Dimensions obviously is their WFM product. I think I said that backwards earlier.
Yep.
I did not know this, but UKG Ready has about 50,000 users, company users. I think it's in the millions. I'm trying to see what million number they have for employees they're serving. But I did not know they weren't marketing that formally. They were sort of passively letting that become adopted by way of the Kronos original design. Right, Kronos built that. It came over. They merged with Ultra Pro or
Yeah.
Ultimate, and they brought those two forward. But I was surprised to hear that they've had that growth and not really marketed that solution. So they're really leaning into that now and targeting globally. I don't know if everyone knows that. It's not just a US solution. It certainly is globally capable. And it's underpinned by all of their Dimensions WFM solutions and certainly their OneView global payroll capability they acquired through Amitis. So really strong down market play in addition to pro. I think sometimes just gets a little bit forgotten maybe.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And I think it's great that you have some of the client counts to be able to back that up with, right? Some of the proofs. Bring us some of the proofs.
Yeah.
Um, I also think you slipped it in there really quick, but just the whole global payroll with Amitis and the rebranding. I believe Payroll Congress is the first that I had seen, kind of the branding under OneView, right? Isn't that it?
That's a
OneView.
great point. Yeah, UKG OneView is essentially right the Amitis merger or the acquisition, if you will, and yeah, some exciting stuff there. And I'll tell you, I was actually talking to their product leadership, Hugo Sarrazin, and he was telling me about just how excited they were for what they have found that Amitis has. It's actually exceeded their expectations in terms of some of the things they were already building,
Hmm.
and I think it's really cool. They're going to be doing some look, everything in the market now has become super flexible, right? You can get SaaS, you can get point solutions, you could get partial outsourcing, you can get full outsourcing, right? You can really kind of digest these solutions in whatever manner you need to at the point that you need it. And so one of the things I think is really cool is in addition to Amitis obviously offering their fully managed capability, they're going to offer more of a kind of bring your own partner capability. I believe they're calling it OneView Direct, in addition to the OneView Connect they already had, which was somewhat of a SaaS model. So now really kind of creating another flexible way for folks to come and transform their payrolls, in line with HCM and certainly WFM, which is incredibly compelling when you think about what they can do in one shop. So that's really interesting. I think they're doing some cool stuff there, making it more accessible, and then of course just bringing in more AI. And lots of right. Even at PayCon, I think they were one of the only. If we were just talking about this earlier, one of the only product announcements that we saw at PayCon, and that was the UKG. Um,
One
uh,
view. Yeah.
Sorry, no,
Or
the conversational analytic capability. So yeah, really cool stuff. So UKG really leaning hard into payroll and especially global payroll, and I think they're doing some cool stuff here.
yeah, and you know what you just said about medicine offering the one view direct, right?
Yeah.
Like that's not a small deal in the market historically. I think NGHR was really the only one before it was bought by Alight that would allow you to connect to other third parties that were already in your inventory, right? And so it's really the only way to get, to get that extensibility. And now that we have some of the pay slips and papaya globals and some of, that genre of global payroll solution offering to do that, having one view offer to do some things direct is something that people are looking for. And I don't think it's been readily available.
Yeah, well, you're right, and I think we've seen a lot more of the SaaS stuff coming around, right? Payslip is doing well. We've got Payzar, Paybix. Some of these other guys have popped up that have really brought in a more agile approach to this to say, look, there doesn't have to be any one single vendor that you're using. You can certainly use the vendors of choice, but we can lay
That's right.
over that one single experience, one single capability to control and orchestrate your payroll. So, yeah,
Yeah.
I love it. I think it goes right along with that flexibility piece of this. And don't forget, the thing that is really differentiated, I think, about UKG's OneView is its ability to help with scheduling all the way through to payment, right? So
Hmm.
now they can also, I mean, don't forget they've got a deep WFM heritage that is globally capable, used by the biggest companies. They can bring that time and attendance and payroll 1-2 punch of source to gross and gross to net right through to payment, right? So yeah, very cool stuff, and I think super differentiated for them.
Hey, I know it may or may not have been
Yeah.
a part of your UKG analyst bit, but I think you were going to call into play here our good friend Jason Lee.
Yeah, another announcement. That's exactly right. One of the things we did get an update on was UKG Labs. That is, think of it as I thought it was more of an investment portfolio. I don't think they actually make an investment. I think there's an option for UKG to invest or acquire some pieces of the organization over time. But really, it's an incubator cohort kind of concept that says, hey, let's bring in innovative solutions that align to our mantra of building, helping companies build great places to work. And yeah, our good friends over at Salt Labs, Jason Lee, the former founder of Daily Pay, and now the founder of Salt Labs, is bringing his equity solution for frontline workers over to the UKG Lab. So they're going to be working together, and I think it's just a beautiful fit between the cultures and the goals of those organizations. So really cool.
That's
We
right.
actually got to meet a few. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say congratulations all around because it's
Yeah.
always great to see really intelligent people working with each other and bringing better solutions together.
Yeah, I was able to have dinner with the team at Salt Labs in Nashville, and got to know some of the newer folks there and what they're doing. So I'm a big fan of
Exciting.
that solution and love the landing spot. I think it's just a perfect fit together. So yeah,
Great, great.
good
I know
stuff.
I've been doing some work with them on the side around benchmarks and different ways to benchmark some of the reward programs, and so we'll see what comes out of that. That might come up in one of our little micro surveys here one of these days. But getting a chance to work a little bit closer with some of Jason's folks there.
What does it really take to lead with impact in today's ever evolving world? Welcome to Inside the C Suite, the podcast where influence, energy, innovation, and empathy converge. Hi, I'm Christy Honeycutt, your host. Join me as I sit down with the boldest voices in leadership, visionaries who are not just making decisions, but making a difference. In every episode, we explore the heart of leadership. How do high performing leaders harness their energy? How do they lead with empathy without losing their edge? How do they turn disruption into innovation and pressure into purpose? You'll hear unfiltered stories of adversity, resilience, and the raw moments that shaped true influence. This isn't about perfection, it's about presence, passion, and the energetic exchange that fuels transformation. Inside the C Suite is your invitation to lead from a deeper place with intention, connection, and courage. If you're ready to go beyond the surface and unlock what really moves leaders to action, hit subscribe and step inside. You can find us wherever you get your podcast fix. Inside the C Suite, Well, we're an energetic exchange. Let's lead with influence, live with energy, and create with empathy.
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. I think it's yeah, they're a good group, and I think they're on a mission to solve a really tough problem. So it's a start, right? We gotta start somewhere. We gotta get it going, and I think it's good stuff what they're
That's right.
building over there. So yeah.
Hey, so let's jump into payroll Congress, huh?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Let's talk payroll Congress. Yeah, I thought it was a great week. I mean, it's always exhausting. It's always such a reunion. There's a lot of excitement. There's a lot of great education. I sat in on a few of the classes where I could. Yeah, just a great week all around. I mean, no complaints, right? It's the Super Bowl of payroll, so exciting time for the industry.
So I have to add a little bit of color to what was
Yeah.
that week. So I don't know if folks know, but we were in Nashville for Payroll Congress, a whole thousands of folks there. I think more than 2,200, right? There were an awful lot of folks there.
Yeah.
And we were at the Gaylord, the big Opryland, which is somewhat insulated. If anybody's not been there, it's under an atrium and kind of all encapsulated. And there, what we're having some kind of weather. I have never been in a place where literally for 2 days straight, my phone was going off every 3 minutes with lightning, flash flood, tornado, lightning.
Oh,
I mean, like for 48
yes.
hours straight. And
Yes.
there was some kind of tumult going on
Yes.
outside those doors,
It was
but it
raining
was all
sideways.
you wouldn't know it from the excitement we had going on indoors, right?
No, yes, the Gaylord's resorts are always very inclusive, as you point out. Like you can literally just stay there the entire time. They have everything. So, yeah, it was as if we were on our own little bubble. But there was
That's
some pretty gnarly weather happening while we were there. Some flooding, I heard, the tornado warnings. It startled a few of our foreign attendees. They're not used to that sort of broadcasted, alarm going off on everyone's cell phone at once. So I think that was a little bit startling, but yeah, but hey, Nashville is a good time. It's one of those cities where you can blow your liver out pretty quickly if you don't
yeah,
pace
imagine.
yourself. But yeah, good time. I mean, and again, I met so many folks that I just finally put a face to a name. Laura Smart, for example, the
Yeah,
brilliant
that
Brazilian
was my
brilliant
first time
consultant.
meeting her in
Yeah,
person as well. Bart was there with his new
Bart,
book.
yeah, the book we had, yeah, so many great folks. Jerome Governal from HR Data Scale was there, or Data Scale HR, I believe I said that wrong. And we had some great conversations. I was able to invite a bunch of folks over to the Daily Pay booth, and we did some micro podcasts, little quick short episodes there. So look for those to come out soon. I'll probably swap cast them here. But what do you
I
think? Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, I don't know how early you arrived, but I arrived on Monday early. And the main reason that I did, because I don't really think the event was in full swing until Tuesday sometime, is because there's an editorial board that meets,
Mm,
usually um, coinciding here with Payroll Congress, because you get some of the international folks and just, your best attendance there. And for folks who read some of the payroll org magazines, like the Global Payroll, the old GPMI magazine, it's been rebranded, and there are other bits. I don't know if you know, but there's a panel and a group that focuses on the content in those magazines and what sort of content they'll be pushing out over the course of the next 12 months.
yeah,
And I've sat on that board for quite some time. I admit I don't write specifically for it as often as I probably should. I think I half write a dozen things or more a year that never quite make it to the finished tub. But we do have a number of folks there that you would recognize if you watch and follow along with the magazines,
oh
who
yeah,
are really speaking about what do people want to hear, what topics should we be putting on the list for the year to come, and kind of plan out and figure out where is all this content going to come from that we're pushing out through the magazines that you get
yeah,
that go out to quite a number of folks, right?
oh yeah.
Thousands of payroll practitioners.
Yeah, I think it's a really, I mean, I think it's a really nice, a nice app, a nice channel for practitioner leaders to be able to sort of show their thought leadership voice. And so, yeah, I would even encourage you if you're not participating in that and you'd like to, I'd go as far as say to reach out to one of us and we'd be happy to put you in touch. But yeah, it's a great group, and I know I've been in there a few times and helped with some articles as well. So yeah,
Exactly.
good stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. So that was early. I think that was a pre-conference event, right? I know we're
Yeah,
jumping into the Congress itself, but
yeah.
that happened early.
Yeah, it did. I was there all week myself. I got there Monday, 'cause sort of day zero, if you will. It's a long week. I will admit. It's an immersive. It's a good immersive 4 days, 3.5 days. of education and networking, and certainly some partying. And I don't know, Julie, did you get to take in the costume contest this year? That was fun.
I did not. I wish I did, but I had work to do in the hotel day and
Uh,
night, and so I just ran out of steam before the costume party. So I hope they post pictures. They almost always
Well,
do,
I
and I'm
did. I
excited to
posted a
see
few.
them.
I was so proud they had a golden age section, so people were dressed in gold. Lots of evening gowns and wigs and just all kinds of craziness. Some really good costume themes and some different, just some characters, right? I mean, that's what payroll org, I think, is about, is letting people be their true selves and have a little camaraderie and a little fun. And that contest is really, it's really good, man. People are really
Did
getting
you
into it.
dress up? People want to know.
No, people keep asking me that. I'm gonna next year. I'm going to next year. I have to. Or at least some point, right? I mean, I should have done the golden age thing. I feel like I coined that phrase as well, so I'm proud of that. But I wish I was a judge. But it's okay. I got to take a picture with all the contestants, so it was fun. It was a fun
Excellent.
time. And the
Excellent.
party, of course, always a very much an event, if you will. It's very much an event. Very much an event. It almost feels like an indoor tailgate or something, right? Just a nice hang of music and food and just people playing cornhole and other games and just dancing and all kinds of stuff going on. So if you can't
Yeah.
find fun at Payroll Congress, man, you can't find it.
There's this and then some of the bigger ADP meeting of the minds, right? Type things.
Yeah,
They're the two places where payroll practitioners can be celebrated wholly and fully and, really have an event that's made for them.
yeah.
And so
You know,
it's great to see
I'll
it.
tell you, Julie, it's one interesting thing I will tell you. I took a photo of it and I didn't post it, but I was going to say it's one of the few events where you can, between classes, so to speak, go down the halls and you can see people diligently processing payroll and working. Payroll never sleeps, and it's kudos to those that can pull themselves away and juggle that and their education and camaraderie and all of that at the same time, because it's not everybody can do that. So good thing we have also those local chapters that are super, super important events for those that can't make it out. So
That's right.
yeah, I admire them. But so look, we hosted a very, very special event that I heard got great, great feedback. I was proud of how it went. I thought we could have had a longer day, maybe even another day. But what did you think of the executive summit and the executive sessions that we ran?
I want to take a break real quick just to let you know about a new show we've just added to the network. Up Next at Work, hosted by Gene and Kata Keel of the Devon Group. Fantastic show. If you're looking for something that pushes the norm, pushes the boundaries, has some really spirited conversations, Google Up Next at Work, Gene and Kata Keel from the Devon Group.
What if I told you that your boss skydives, Tim in marketing is a magician, and Sam in accounting does sums in his head while standing on his hands? Seeing sides of the people you work with but never see, sides that inform and inspire their work and that can inspire yours, is what The Talent Show is all about. Email me, Tom Alexander, host of The Talent Show, at talentshow@backboneinc.com and show us what you got. I look forward to seeing you on The Talent Show.
Wow, I
Sort of the
I
event within an
really
event.
enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I think I was a little bit surprised to learn that that's the first ever event of its type
Yeah.
by Payroll Org, right? Because it just seems like a natural, something that would have been there all along. But it was the first, and I think the first annual, and probably not the last, right? Event of bringing forward senior executive leaders to talk about payroll and the future needs, future abilities, capabilities, ways to really reach your successful business outcomes as leaders by leaning into payroll. And so that was exciting enough. And even more exciting is that you and I had a great opportunity to kick that off.
Yeah, yeah, that was a privilege. I mean, I thought surprising it was the first one, but better late than never. We're on our way, and I think it started a great dialogue, and for future events, I think this will certainly continue. But yeah, what a privilege to kick that off and share our. I felt like we did a little episode. I wish we would have recorded it now. It felt like a little. If everything we do feels like a podcast episode, honestly, Julie, to be honest, but I thought it was good. We had great feedback, great engagement, right? We had some executive level leadership in the room. I think the goal was C-suite. We got some of that, but I think it was mostly executive level sort of payroll folks, very senior level folks, maybe even some HR folks in there. And thank you to Alight for sponsoring that. I think that was great that they stepped in and did that. And yeah, just some great dialogue, some great conversations about what payroll should be, what it can be, and what it can produce. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought there was a lot of really good dialogue. Even outside of that, I thought the conversation, at least for me, continued in different places with folks that were in that room that wanted to continue talking about it. So that's exciting.
That's right. And
Yeah.
in fact, for folks who are just, kind of dying to know what we talked about or how we got folks talking here at the beginning of the day, we really did focus on some excerpts from your survey that was launched later that week,
Yes.
and generated some conversation around what the trends are with technology and process and people and change. Right, change
Yeah.
was a huge topic. In fact, it was our last section, and I think right in the early kickoff we had maybe the most excitement and conversation from leaders that really wanted to talk about different components and elements of change and the challenge and the upside and the the real possibilities that they saw in bringing change in culture, change in people, change in the relationships and payroll, and just making it something really very robust as
Yeah.
we go forward in the future.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, I think it's important that we start to have a different conversation about payroll, right? In the past, it's been so oriented around cost savings, cost takeout, process improvement, and all those traditional things that you would orient around a cost center, right? And I understand. I totally understand. I've been on the other end of managing some of those, some of the biggest deals that there are and helping companies achieve that. But I think we have to, and that's what I'm hoping my research is going to do. And I hope, and I think that this session was a great step in that direction. Is that we're going to have a different conversation that says, yes, payroll has to focus on those things, right? But at the same time, there is a value to be extracted from payroll that is just being completely overlooked. And it starts with an engagement of executives understanding what payroll actually does and what it materially produces and prevents, and then how it can be an asset and a conduit maybe, or a facilitator of change or a facilitator of outcomes. And that's where we've got to start a dialogue, and we've got to get payroll talking to executive leaders. And I know there's a number of ways we would recommend you go about that, but I think that's what this is about, and I'm hoping that's what my research has done is just change the conversation. Let's just have a different conversation about payroll, and let's help you understand what payroll could be for your organization and what it's going to prevent for you if you don't modernize and you don't invest in it. And I've got concerns too, just for the profession. Like we've got a lot of people that are going to be leaving this profession in the next few years, right? Next 5 to 10. And that's concerning. That's
That's
concerning.
right.
Yeah.
That's right. It's heavy on everyone's minds, including payroll practitioners and leaders who are
Yeah.
wondering where the next generation of talent is going to come from and how you backfill that.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's a lot of professions and sectors I'm sure that are. I was talking to someone just recently about certified mechanics, right? Like it's waning. There's not a lot of people doing that, like maybe in past generations. So
Yeah.
maybe our cars aren't going to get fixed quite like like they should. But
Uh-oh.
we've got to think about the next generation of practitioners, and that's another thing I think we've got to do for this profession is we've got to start figuring out how we encourage. I hate to use the word younger because that's not really the right thing I want to say. I want to say people earlier in their stages of their career, or folks that are looking for that career advancement and transition. Bring them to payroll, right? I mean, there's some great. I've seen some great leaders come from outside of payroll and do amazing things at some really big companies. So you don't have to be the world's greatest payroll expert, right? You just have to have a desire to learn. And I think payroll is one of those areas that is going to be very technology led in the future, and it's going to lend itself to folks that are interested in, leaving their stamp, right, putting their mark on something. And so here's the opportunity.
That's right.
Yeah,
So, and listen, beyond our opportunity to start and kick off kind
yeah,
of the executive summit day, we did join some of the mainstream attraction, right, in
yeah,
the broader Congress early on in the event, and then we came back with the leaders of the organizations as part of the executive summit and had kind of an all-star lineup on AI and payroll, right, with
yeah.
the likes of, I think we had Sherry Sullivan from E&Y was there. We had Joe. Oh man, I forget
David
his last.
Mallon was there from Deloitte.
Yeah, yep. So we had Deloitte, and we had KPMG, and we had Ernst Young, and where's Joe from again? I
I know
forget.
we're forgetting somebody.
Sorry, Joe.
Yeah.
Um,
I know, right?
anyways, they're like the brightest and the best,
Oh, yeah.
the leading advisors that are that have the most volume of client activity right in the market were asked a number of questions by Nick Day. Right? Was it
Yeah,
Nick that was moderating that
that's
session?
right. Yeah.
Oh my God! Now I'm gonna have to look up Joe's name
Payroll
while we're talking
podcast.
here.
Yep.
And so got a chance to really interact and also take some questions from leaders and share a little bit about what they're seeing or what they're doing in this space.
Yeah, and no, I thought it was great. It was very much it was very much a a from the front lines view, right? A lens from the front lines. And just to double check here, I looked it up.
Joe
Joe
Ranzo.
Ranzau, yeah, Ranzau
Yeah,
was from
I'm
Grant
so
Thornton,
sorry.
and Demetrius Papageorgiou was from
Yeah,
KPMG.
there you go.
Yeah, I forgot Demetrius. He was up there as well. So we had representation from basically the big four,
Yep.
plus Grant Thornton, and of course led by the wonderful Nick Day of the Payroll Podcast. But yeah, no, it was great. I thought it was a very it was just a different lens, right? It was like leaders that are out there helping companies solve this and figure this out and telling stories about how to do that and what works and what doesn't. And I thought it was very well received. Like I said, I thought we could have gone, I thought we could have gone another afternoon, right? I mean, we could have easily had maybe some more subjects, and I know they'll build on this. And so I'm excited to see this become, I'd love to see this become almost like the way ADP operates their meeting of the minds.
Optimize your business with a Workforce AI Edge powered by Visier. Make smarter decisions and achieve better outcomes with real-time AI insights delivered to every people leader. Explore more at visier.com.
Executive track within their bigger event with their larger North American base, where they do an executive track that runs parallel to the event. I think this could turn into that, and I think there could even be some education on the back end of it as well that you could pair. So I know we're going to work closely with Payroll Org and help shape this, and I'm excited for us to hopefully be a part of the next one
Yeah,
and the
for
next one
sure.
and the next one. So
Same
yeah,
here.
it's important stuff. I feel like this is really, really important stuff. So
Hey, so I had a session and you had a session. Why don't we
yeah.
spend a couple of minutes on each and make sure that nobody feels like they missed something and were left
Yeah.
out?
Well, my session, I did a great panel with Daily Pay. We had one of their executives and a couple of their clients. Sarah Chesney, one of my our good friends of the show. She was on there telling their stories, and it was really interesting because Daily Pay was citing a good bit of their data from the back end. So we were talking a bit about the context of what we really see with how people behave with earned wage access. So it was really well received. And then, of course, on Friday, after everyone was exhausted, I know I was. We were all. I presented the Payroll Profession Confidence Index results, which we're going to do an episode on, and that was incredibly well received. So thank you to everyone who was a part of that and came to that. But yeah, those were mostly my sessions, and then of course the exec summit, and then podcasting here and there with Daily Pay and UKG and some others. So it was a good time.
That's great. And on
Yeah.
Tuesday afternoon, I did a session on
Yeah.
building relationships across HR, payroll, and IT,
Yes.
and looking at some of the profiles and the different lenses of stakeholders with payroll squarely in the middle of them, no matter where it's owned in the organization, whether it's HR owned and kind of what that lens looks like, or finance owned and what that lens looks like, and then all the different constructs that we find with it sitting in shared services or sitting in IT or even business operations when things are really decentralized, and use that to talk a little bit about kind of the wondrous unicorn that a payroll practitioner needs to be successful and to excel in the organization. They really need to understand and have that emotional intelligence and cultural intelligence to navigate very different stakeholder groups.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I
then the
was
second, oh,
sorry. Go
go
ahead.
ahead.
No, I was gonna say I was in that session. I thought it was great. It was very interactive. You had everybody engaged for sure.
That's right. And
Yeah.
the second part was the funnest for me, Pete, because it really tied into a lot of what your heart has been into here in your survey, and that is just the different skill sets and how those skill sets are evolving and how the nature of the payroll practitioner work has evolved over time into something that is, much more than its early stage bookkeeper days where maybe you were running the calcs, which is what the technologies do for us today, right? And applying some of the laws. And so technology has stepped into that role, and the payroll practitioner really is a super skilled person. And we've talked about it in a number of our different episodes, but trying to leave the group with the idea that it's such a great jumping ground, for a person who likes to deal with a number of different things, or maybe as a mover and shaker in the career world. And there's so many different places you can go when you start with payroll at the heart, and such a learning opportunity. So hopefully that's a little bit of what people took from the session.
Yeah, no, I thought it was a great session, and you had a lot of engagement. Even some folks, I think coming up to you after. So that was a great session. I wish I would have been able to sit in more, to be honest. But
Yeah, I know.
um,
It's so hard to be able to
yeah,
get in and see all the things that you want to. I jumped into one about union payrolls for a while, and I thought, oh, why did I do this to myself? Like, I
yeah,
know it's hairy and
yeah,
ugly, but I always feel like there's something more I need to know. So just jumping in and being able to take advantage of all of the knowledge that's together in one place is
yeah.
super exciting about the payroll org event and payroll congress.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. What else? Did you get to tool around the expo a little bit?
I
Get
did,
some
yes.
tchotchkes, get some swag for your kids, whatever?
My kids have outgrown tchotchkes, so
No
I
swag?
don't
Yeah.
even bring them home.
Yeah.
I'm happy to say, but I'm always looking for great ideas, right?
Yeah.
For any of our own clients and customer events and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So, a lot of folks, a lot of turnout. It was a great expo hall. It was down in the downstairs, so you had to make a point to go down there. It was on a different level than some of the other activities, but I just saw people roaming across the whole entire expo hall. So I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure that everybody got a chance to jump in and check things out.
Yeah, yeah, it was nice. I mean, for me, it was like I was really kind of like just popping booth to booth, talking to clients. It was, I mean, selfishly, it was nice. Everyone was there. I got to see everyone. Got to meet the new VP of product for payroll at Workday, Jen Kozier. She
Oh,
happens to live here in Atlanta, so I'm hoping I'll get to spend a little bit more time with her. Yeah, she just joined, so that's exciting for them. I noticed, Julie, there is definitely a lot more global payroll than there was in the past. That's very obvious. Deal was there, right?
yeah,
Cloud, all
that's
the
right.
usual characters, Cloud Pace,
Yeah.
Alight, you name it. So, but definitely a lot more. And global payroll seems to be definitely a topic that is coming up more often. I'm finding more and more orgs are really finding themselves which we knew, finding themselves with a global footprint and really trying to figure that out. Or mergers and acquisitions have pulled them there, something like that. So it was interesting just to see what was front of mind. I think that was one of the things. And of course, AI, right? I mean, everybody's kind of buzzing about that in some way or the other. Either they are looking at figuring out how to incorporate it in their world, or maybe maybe having a little angst about what it might do to their roles. As you might understand, I'm sure we're all kind of worried about that. But otherwise, I thought it was a really good time. I mean, everybody always brings their best. Everybody comes and really leaves it all out there, if you will. So we payrolled so hard, I would say.
We
We
barreled so
payrolled
hard.
so
Oh
hard.
my
Yeah.
God, you're so funny. Yeah,
Uh,
so listen, like super congratulations to there's so many people that are involved in pulling together a really fantastic event
yeah.
at Payroll Org. And I know I'm not even going to try to call out who because I'll miss some important people and then I'll be in the doghouse.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, absolutely. They do a great job over there. So kudos to Dan Maddox, the executive director, and his team. They all just do a fantastic job. And yeah, you can definitely tell they know what they're doing. Right, 42 iterations of this, they've dialed it in, and I think it's one of the most unique and immersive and just high quality events in the marketplace. And I probably attend them for a living in some ways. So I've seen them all, almost
that's
all of them.
right.
Anyway,
All
yeah.
right. Well, hopefully now our listeners also feel like they didn't miss a beat.
Yeah, no, hopefully so. Hopefully we'll see you at the next one. Jim Cole, I know you missed it to go on vacation, but next year we got to see you there. That the payroll artist was not there. He was in spirit. We saw his art, but would love to see him there and others. So if you haven't made it before, get to the payroll congress. And if you can't make it to the big show, that's okay. Everybody, not everybody can pull away for a week. Look for one of your local regional shows. They're really very very high value. There's 20 or so of the chapters. I don't know how many of them actually have events, but I'll be out there speaking at least I think three or four: Atlanta, California, New England, and possibly Carolinas. I'm trying to figure that out, but get out there and check those out. They're just as robust in terms of education. They're a bit smaller, probably more affordable, and right in your backyard. So take advantage of that.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Pete, for pulling this together and
Yeah.
making sure that we got a chance to share what we saw and what we heard and what we know.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll keep you posted, and we're coming back with an episode on the PPCI, the Payroll Profession Confidence Index. I'm excited to share the results. If you don't have that yet, get out there and download it. I'll throw it in the comments, and I know you've got some survey results coming up on your AI and automation research as well that we're going to share. So
That's
excited
right.
to reveal that.
We'll be recording again soon.
Yes, yes. Take care, everyone. We'll see you soon.